The New England Patriots tonight, -2 against the Tennessee Titans. We are going to take that game apart in great detail, plus lots more. It's Football Friday on WagerTalk Today, and right off the bat, Ralph Michales is joining us. Ralph, how are you, my friend?
Doing great, guys. Preseason, week 0 starts tomorrow. Can't be more excited.
Teddy, do you not know how this works?
Ralph, no, I don't, because we're just changing it up.
Fair enough.
But I'm learning on the fly. That said, Ralph, obviously Football Friday. Let's start off with some analysis for college football this coming weekend. And obviously, college football, NFL preseason is there. College football is on center stage tomorrow, most assuredly. And this is a game that's gotten a lot of betting attention, and I'm not convinced that the public really knows a lot about it. UTEP and Jacksonville State. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen right now, I'm seeing the Miners, -1, -1.5 road favorites, total of 54. What are we going to do with UTEP and Jacksonville State in the season opener on Saturday?
So the one thing we've learned in college football over the last few years and in college basketball is that FCS programs in football and smaller teams in college hoops, the gap is starting to shorten. Star players will go to these schools because they know they're going to get recruited. We know that the recruiting has blossomed and they get more eyes. So while this is the case, Jacksonville State is still in a flux situation. Now, this Jacksonville State is not in Florida. This is in Alabama. And Coach Rich Rodriguez, yes, Michigan, West Virginia Rodriguez, is now the head coach in his second year. So he brought his traditional spread run offense to the team. Now, Jacksonville State returns 9 starters on offense, 7 on defense. They have a 9-2 record last year, but against their 2 best teams, they lost against Tulsa 54-17 and lost to Southeast Louisiana 31-14. UTEP, as we know, is a team that played well, but had a chance against UTSA, and a pick 6 cost them to move on with their season last year. But I break down UTEP and I say this. This is a team in the 5th or the 6th year of their head coach. They have a quarterback that has made 30 career starts. He's in his 7th season because of injuries and red shirts. They have the best offensive player on the field with wide receiver Smith. They have the best defensive player on the field by a ton with Ame Wule. The reasons I didn't get to the Miners as a play, despite returning that quarterback, returning their top running back, returning their top receiver, returning 4 out of 5 offensive linemen, having the least amount of sacks allowed in the FBS last year, a better D-line, is this. They are still only 3 road wins against FBS teams over the last 4 years. That's something to be concerned about if you can win. And the other really is the temperature. I know UTEP has its hot spells, but it's been 70 and 80 degrees. While Rich Rodriguez only averaged 65 plays per game last year, I think clearly that
Ralph Michales just disappeared on us, Teddy covers. So you had, Teddy, you're so funny with your follow-up questions. Teddy's like, should I ask a follow-up here? I'm like, man, we've got a big show today. Maybe no follow-up on this one. And Teddy's like, well, it'll be real quick. Teddy, the question is always real quick. It's the answer that I'm concerned about. Ralph Michales, are you back? Teddy,
I am.
Go ahead, Ralph.
And I'll just say this. The reason UTEP didn't make my play was this. They're 4-14 straight up on the road the last 3 years. And while Rich Rodriguez and Jacksonville only average 65 plays per game, I think they're going to ramp it up in the second half. With 90 degrees and 60% humidity and feels like 104 degrees, I worry about UTEP's depth in the second half.
So, Ralph, what I wanted to ask you is about week 0 line moves. This is a situation where Jacksonville State opened the favorite. Now UTEP is the favorite. If you like UTEP right now, could you lay -1 with them, even though you could get +2 or +2.5 all year, all summer, I should say? Or are you a believer that in week 0, the line's gone, you just leave the game alone?
Teddy, to me, it's this. I don't worry about what the line was a month ago. If I'm handicapping the game and I am confident in my handicapping abilities and I feel there's value with that current line, I don't care that I didn't finish handicapping football in July and a line was +1 and now it's -1. So that doesn't concern me. And again, if you are a true handicapper and you believe your true numbers, you're basing it out that number and what the number was yesterday. Because there's lines that move with you. There's lines that move against you. Everyone talks about closing line value and what they had. But the truth is this. You hopefully get the much better of the line 80% of the time. Sometimes you're going to get the negative line 20% of the time. But if you feel there's value with that current line, I would confidently still play that game.
Well, Michael's joining us, everyone, and welcome to our show today. It's Friday. It's WagerTalk Today. We are on every day, 12 Eastern, Monday to Friday. We got a great show. Ralph's got a chart coming up for you, CFB related. We're also going to take apart the Baltimore Tampa Bay preseason game. We got Carmine coming up after that. It is Football Friday, and I had some English people from Britain, from London, over on Saturday, and they kept screaming at me, football is soccer, so Carm will be discussing 2 soccer games. We got a great betting strategy segment, Teddy's big game breakdown on the New England Patriots game tonight, and Art DiCesare at the end of the show. Guys, Ralph, Teddy, yesterday we had 96 comments. After the video went up, it's the highest amount we've ever had. Let's break 100. It's week 0 in college football. Let us know who you like tomorrow on the college football card. Guys, I don't mean to go on and on. Last night I'm watching Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, and episode 2. It's all social media. And they're just showing these guys begging for likes one after another. I turned to Vivian. I'm like, God, Teddy and I do that every day. It sounds so bad, begging for likes. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. We don't have a choice. We just got to keep doing it. So even though it sounds ridiculous and drives me bonkers and I hate begging, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, let your friends know about us. We had 4% yesterday, 4% new listeners came in through Facebook Messenger, which means friends messaged friends in the middle of the show to tell them to watch it. Thank you, guys. Keep it up. Ralph Michaels, you have a chart. Tell us about it.
I actually have 2 charts, Prez, but they're related. But just to make it a little easier on the screen, it's this. I'm not telling you to bet favorites. I'm not telling you to bet dogs. I'm not telling you how to bet home teams or road teams. But let's at least know what has happened in college football in game number 1s. So, Dan, if you would, the college football game number 1 favorites. I'm going to ask you, Teddy, with college football. The top chart is home favorites since 2018. The bottom chart's away favorites since 2018. I think you could see a theme there. Now, granted, the away favorites are a small sample size, and I do want to point out, I left out 2020 for a very good reason. That was COVID. Some teams were playing game 1s in October. Some teams were playing game 1s in November. There was no true game 1 because of the COVID season. So you see the 2020 season is not included because of the skewed stats. But simply, let's take a look. Does it make sense? A home favorite, a home excited, a home crowd excited. They're the better team. What have they done? Well, they've covered 54.3% the last 4 years. Away favorites going on the road, they've only won 66.3% straight up, and they've covered 44.8%. So again, not wow numbers, Ted and Prez, but I think it's something to be cognizant of when you're looking at college football teams game number 1.
I'm with you 100%, Ralph. I love home favorites week 1. I think the markets undervalue the home teams, and every handicapper It's always thinking, oh, I'm going to be so smart. I'm going to be so smart.
Yeah,
I'm so sharp.
yeah.
I'm going to get this dog week 1. I'm going to get that dog week 1. I tend to play favorites in week 1. But Ralph, the thing I want to ask you about that chart, because you're doing something that I did 100% this year. I threw out all my 2020 data from anything I'm looking at in college football this year, all of it. I'm like, that year was garbage. Every game has an asterisk. Every game has bad stats. Every game doesn't. I found more misleading results than meaningful results when I started looking back at 2020, especially since we have 2 full years of data for every team since then. I want to ask you, do you use your 2020 data, or have you thrown it out completely as well?
Well, as you can see, here I don't, and when I'm handicapping, I don't. I did put it in the football guide just so people saw the reference points of returning starters
Sure.
and the coaches, and it kept the continuity. But I'm with you. Basically, listen, a college football cycle cannot be longer than 3 years. If you're an SEC or a Big Ten team, that cycle is more like 2 years because of the number of new players and the complete turnover because of the underclassmen being drafted. So to me, in college football, I traditionally use a 3-year cycle. Clearly this year, only a 2-year cycle. I 100% agree with you, Teddy.
Ralph Michaels joining us. Ralph, outstanding. We love having you on. You guys can find Ralph at WagerTalk.com. He's an exclusive handicapper to the group, and he's also absolutely annihilating NFL preseason, and you have been for years, right?
Last 8 years, and I'll go back to the North Coast days working for Phil Steele and North Coast and Power Sweep. And it was just because listen, we had thousands of Power Sweep subscribers. They got the preseason for free. You had to put the work into it to try to build that product. So there's a reason I'm successful, and it's been a lot of hard work for a lot of years.
Excellent stuff. Speaking of NFL preseason, Ralph's got a bet for us. Tampa Bay and Baltimore. You like the total in this
Can
game.
I jump back and show one more college football chart, week number 1?
Okay, of course you can. Well, my bad.
Dan, if you could throw up the second chart. Teddy and Prez, first chart was just home favorites, away favorites. These are double-digit favorites, favorites of 17 or higher, favorites of 24 or higher, favorites of 30 or higher. Take a look at the chart, guys. If you're an away favorite, a double-digit away favorite, very small sample size, 15 and 10. If you're a 17-point away favorite, you've gone 4 and 3, 57%. But look at the home favorites. Double-digit home favorites, 58%. Favorites of 17 or higher, 56%. Favorites of 24 and higher, 55%. Favorites of 30 and higher, 55.4%. But what jumped out to me was look at the bottom below the blue line. When I use those same numbers, 10, 17, 24, and 30-point favorites, and they're not playing an FCS foe, they're playing an FBS foe, meaning they're playing a legitimate FBS team. Perhaps they're paying more attention. The players are more excited. Look at those ATS numbers. Minus 10 points against an FBS foe, 64%. 61%, 60%, and 30-point favorites against an FBS foe, 68.2%.
So, Ralph, clearly, I was saying I like the chalk week 1, and that chart certainly says take a look at the chalk week 1, especially that double-digit chalk. It's been profitable on a consistent basis in recent years. The market's like the dogs week 1. I tend to look for the favorites, and Ralph's chart says, Ted, keep doing what you're doing. Now, let's shift our focus to NFL preseason football for the weekend. Baltimore and Tampa Bay. Total sitting at 36.5. Side for this one, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen as I click over to it. Side for the Ravens and what are the Ravens? The Ravens and Bucks. Tampa Bay minus 1.5/2. Total 36.5. What are we going to do with this one, Ralph?
I'm going to go over, Teddy. Of course, Baltimore had their win streak snapped on Monday night against Washington. But this is not the same Baltimore team. Harbaugh has not put the same thought process into this preseason. They allowed 335 yards against Philadelphia, one of the worst preseason coaches. They allowed 426 yards last week. The defense is not scheming at all. both games have gone over, and Ravens 4 of the last 5 games gone over. While we're not going to see Lamar Jackson, not sure about Huntley, but you still have Anthony Brown and Josh Johnson, who have both played well in the preseason. Anthony Brown played poorly 2 weeks ago. He recovered well last week, 6 of 10 with 2 touchdown passes. But really, it's this Tampa Bay side. With a total of 36.5, do I think both teams can get, over that 17 to 20 point mark? Yes, I think Baltimore can, and yes, I think Tampa Bay can in this time. Tampa Bay's impressed me. Bowles went 0-3 last year in preseason, but he had nothing to prove with Brady as his quarterback. Preseason absolutely meant nothing. But this year, a true number one battle with Baker Mayfield and Trask. He announced that Baker Mayfield was the number one. And what did he say? Well, preseason rep has been split between Trask and Baker with my number ones. They've practiced together somewhat. They're going to play together. And my ones are going to play together the entire first half. More importantly than that, he said in his second half, he is going to play his number twos. Some coaches play guys that are going to make the 53 rosters. Some guys mix their 2 and 3s. When you make a strong statement and say you're going to play your ones half and your twos in your second half, it's a situation where I'm going to back you. I'm going to back you as far as the over goes. A nice low total. And by the way, I went through, since we changed to 3 preseason games 2 years ago, the game 3 games have gone over at a clip of 55%. Again, we're not basing a play on that, but just some knowledge for you thinking, are teams conservative or do they just run the ball? Do they run the ball out to try to kill the clock in that third game? So 55% overs the last 2 years in game 3 of the preseason.
Wonderful stuff, Ralph Michaels, everyone. And guys, we've got a great promo going on. It's our birthday week. Birthday 9, you get 50% off any daily package on the website. It's unlimited. You can buy Teddy, me, and Ralph today, all for using that promo code birthday 9. Ralph, why should they use birthday 9 on you? Go ahead, bro.
I got to ask you this. It was 9 years ago yesterday that you and Marco loaded your plays on the site for the first day. So WagerTalk is officially 9 years and 1 day old. So congratulations. Birthday 9 works all the way through Sunday. Any daily package, 50% off. Any daily package of $15 or more. If you're new to WagerTalk, it's a great way to try it. And I'm happy to be on board at WagerTalk. And you, Marco, and Johnny, and Rick and Teddy, an incredible job through these first 9 years.
Well, Ralph, I mean, nobody realizes this, but you're definitely one of our MVPs. And I'll tell you, Teddy, Ralph, we should have done a segment on like Ask the Prez about, how it all begun and whatnot. And, I mean, the WagerTalk has just been an outstanding story. Marco and I randomly were saying hi to each other on Facebook, and Marco went ballistic over his current boss at the time. And I was like, okay, big boy, put your money where your mouth is. I will put aside some money. You'll put in some money. We'll start a company fresh, me and you. And, man, one of the best business decisions, probably the best business decision I ever made. And since then, it has just been unbelievable. What a ride. Birthday 9, everybody. Ralph, thank you for joining us. Teddy covers. What did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Oh, we got a fun one here because Stephen Holden wrote a nice article for ESPN betting yesterday talking about a survey that ESPN took, 53 players, like an NFL roster, about what's going on in the locker rooms when it comes to gambling. And everyone got anonymous. They're going to give their anonymous answers. Now, the NFL Executive Vice President of Communications, Jeff Miller, quote, "It comes back in a large part to a couple of rules that have existed as long as anyone can remember. First, don't bet on the NFL. That's not new because sports gambling is more available. That's always been the case. And don't bet when you're at work, wherever work happens to be in that moment. That's existed for a long time. We saw 10 players get suspended this past offseason for violations of the gambling policy, the majority of which were suspended for making bets in an NFL facility as opposed to making bets on NFL games. All right. So you hear the quotes from the players, quote, "You're telling me that if I walk 10 feet from the facility's door, it doesn't matter anymore? I think that's just kind of dumb. It's pointless. I don't see how that's helping anything." Another player, "Why can't players bet on other sports that don't compromise the integrity of the game? Why can't you bet NBA or MLB in your locker room or whatever else?" Now, NFL players, are saying, we bet, but we don't necessarily bet at sports books. One player. I'm guessing every single player is in some kind of NCAA tournament pool. One of my closest friends on the team is big into that. He does brackets. He does a survivor pool. He told me he does it under a fake name. I know some guys do a master's pool. Is that considered gambling? Another guy said, Bama's playing LSU. Your two colleges are playing. We'll bet wearing a hoodie or a couple of hundred. But I never heard anyone say, I'm betting on Mayweather. The only thing I've seen are colleges and cards games, dice games. I kind of agree with that assessment. I don't think that there's prevalent gambling on NFL games going on. Not close. That said, given the policy, we saw 10 guys that suspended this year. Prez, over under 9.5 NFL gambling suspensions between now and next year at this time. Let's call it August 31st, 2024. I'm making the over under 9.5. You going over? You going under?
Under. Yeah.
What
listen,
do you guys
firstly,
think? Tell us in the YouTube comment section if you like over or under 9.5 suspensions. I think that's the right number for the next 12 months.
I love that, Teddy. Engagement, guys. Answer that question. I think under. With that said, in reality, I think way over, but they have to get caught to be in that 9.5 on the under. Teddy, you did not know this. And before we bring Carmine Bianco in, and of course, Art DiCesare still joining us a little later, we have the number one sought out and used promotion every year without fail. Every time we do this promotion, we get a ton of interest. The Odd Couple promo is back. It starts today. And basically, you guys, you get Teddy and my all access until September 30th. The regular price is $800. It is $449. You get all of Teddy's baseball if he starts doing it. His college football is NFL. You get my baseball, my college football, and my NFL. I killed it in college football last year. I had a big NFL regular season last year. I'm on a run in baseball right now. And with all that said, the greatest thing you can play at WagerTalk, period, is Teddy Covers September NFL picks. So use that promo. No coupon code required. Just go to Teddy's page or my page at WagerTalk. It's $449 for both of us all the way through till the end of September. The Odd Couple promo back. Thank you. I'm excited. Carmine Bianco joining us. Carm, I'm seeing you tomorrow,
What's up,
bro?
guys? Yeah, I saw Teddy in Vegas. Just an absolutely fantastic host. I was under the weather, but he got me through it, so I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to talking some sports with you guys.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk soccer. No follow-ups for you. And I do want to make mention, everybody, really quick. Next week, even though we're going into NFL and we're already in college football, the World Rugby Championship begins, and Kevin Dolan will be joining us to discuss rugby future bets. Carmine, Bournemouth plus 250 against Tottenham plus 100. The draw is plus 295. The total is 2.5. How do we attack this game?
All right, I'm going to give you a couple plays in this one. One of them is going to be a client play as well, too, that I loaded earlier today for clients. You look at Tottenham, brand new manager. The guy's doing a fairly good job thus far, but it's going to take him a while for this team to turn it around. They obviously, Harry Kane, they finally sold him to Bayern Munich, but they got a big win against Man United, 2-0 last weekend. I don't think it was as big as it looked on paper. I think United played a very good first half and then just fell apart in the second half where Tottenham scored a couple goals. But this is a game in which it's the early game on Saturday, 7:30 Eastern time, and you see some of the most unlikely results in these games for some reason. But this is a game in which I don't think either team is shored up defensively at the moment. And I think we're going to see goals in this one. Both teams to score. And Lawrence, I know you're not unfamiliar with that BTTS, but BTTS is both teams to score, and over 2.5 is -130. And I think that's a good play because we're going to get goals from both teams in this game. Both teams through their initial 2 weeks of the season have registered XG numbers higher than 153, 113 for Bournemouth, 191, 137 for the Spurs. I think both teams are going to score in this one, and then we'll have an eventual winner. It won't matter who wins as far as this bet is concerned, but a 2-1 scoreline gets you all the money. A 3-0 scoreline, 3-1, you get the drift. And I do like Tottenham to get this win. I just think they are a better team. It's going to take them a little while to put it together, but this team is going to win some games, and you're getting them at even money. There's a little bit of steam coming in on them. I saw just before going to air here that on our WagerTalk live lines, there's some -105s, -110s popping up. So grab that plus money if you can get it.
Yeah, if you like this type of analysis, and I do, and I think you do, otherwise you wouldn't be here, please. Yeah, we got to beg for them, but we will. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us comments. That makes all the difference, and the YouTube algorithms makes all the difference in this show being what you want it to be each and every weekday right here on WagerTalk TV. Let's talk a little MLS for Saturday, 4:30 Pacific time, 7:30 on the East Coast. Columbus and the Toronto Football Club. I'm seeing Columbus -230, the draw in the +390 range, and Toronto in the +600 range. So Columbus, legit chalk in this one. What do you want to do with this match on Saturday?
Yeah, and this is the first game you've seen me tweet it out, and it's on our Instagram account. If you don't follow WagerTalk's Instagram account, definitely join it. This is part of a new segment I'm doing throughout the week, which is called Offside with Carmine Bianco, where I'm going to find lines for upcoming games that I believe are off, and this was the first one. Columbus on the goal line right now is -1.25 goals. This is a team that after the Leagues Cup came home, played a game against the best team in the league as far as the standings go, which was Cincinnati. It was a derby of sorts, and beat them 3-0 in that game at home, where they've gone 9-3-1, only one loss at home this year, a +21 goal differential, 33-12, and only one loss in their last 23 games at home. Why does that matter? Because you've got Toronto coming to town. I'm a season ticket holder, and I've gone to watch one game this year. I keep giving away the tickets if I can, or selling them. They are such a bad team right now. 0 wins on the road, four draws, 8 losses, -15 goal differential. They spend money on players who just don't pan out. Bad coaching, they fire them. This season is a write-off for this team. Last in the league. They just are a bad team right now, and you have to fade them. We're about 20 cents, and this is why I talked about the line. We're about 20 to 25 cents on the money line on Columbus, and it's going to continue to go higher before the goal line changes. And the goal line is 1.25 goals right now. It is going to go to 1.5 goals by game time. I'm almost certain of that one. So I say grab it now at 1.25 goals. Now, if you're wondering what a quarter goal is, I'll say really quickly. If you bet $100 on Columbus -1.25, you essentially are betting $50 on Columbus -1 and $50 on Columbus -1.5. They win by 2, you win both bets. If they win by 1, you push 1, you lose 1. But you're much better off grabbing that line than at 1.5, where they have to win by 2 goals for you to win your full wager. If they win by 1, you obviously lose. So grab that line now. Columbus -1.25 goals. I'm looking at like a 3-0 type game on the weekend.
Yeah, Carmine Bianco joining us. Teddy, when Art comes on, we should ask him when baseball lines are going to start doing that. I mean, well, there's simply no reason we can't have a -1.25 in a baseball game. Anyway, Carmine, outstanding stuff, brother. You're going to hang out with us for the betting strategy segment. But before that, what do you have to promote?
That birthday 9 is great for this weekend. I have a game going today, but I have a EPL card on the weekend, a big one on Saturday. and a 5% play on a Sunday as well too. You can get those over at WagerTalk. Use the birthday 9, and you can get half off of those plays, which is a great deal in itself. 3-1 this month with 5% plays in soccer. So let's see if we can get that up to 80% on the month by the end of the weekend.
Perfect. Daniel's son, betting strategy with Teddy and the Prez. Here is your question. It is from a loyal listener, Tom Williams. I am a soccer bettor and can't tell you how many times I've been burned in injury time. Should I just start cashing winning bets out once we get to the 90th minute mark? Now, Carmine is going to answer that specifically for soccer, and then I'm going to give you my take on cashing out bets in general. Teddy, if he wants to add something, can. Art DiCesare coming up after that. Carmine, go ahead.
Yeah, Tom, listen, we've all felt that a late goal or late a home run with any type of bet and you lose your wager. But here's the thing is books aren't giving you free money. It may seem like they're giving you free money. There's only really 2 reasons to cash out, and I'll get to them in a second. But when you're cashing out, and I'll use an example from this past weekend when I was in Vegas, Manchester City playing Newcastle. The game line was -120. Put a stake on it of $240. The score is at this to win $200 profit. The score in the 80th minute was 1-0 for Man City. The cash out offer was $366, and you get that cash out offer by basically taking what the potential payout is and dividing it by the current odds. The current odds at the time were -500 on Man City, so the cash out offer was the true cash out offer is $366. Your true payout is $440. Now you've only got to get through the next 10 minutes or so, and then some injury time. By taking that cash out, you're doing a couple things. Number one, you're impacting your long-term profitability by $74, which you gave up, and number two is you effectively paid the book juice twice because they've baked in their margins in the VIG in your opening bet, and then when they're offering you the cash out, it's on the current line, which was -500, where their VIG is again baked into that line. It is not a zero-sum sports bet because they are baking in their profit into that line. So taking the profit and cashing out, it's a thing where it plays on your mind because you lose a couple bets and you think it's just going to happen again. That's not the way to think about it. You have to think about bankroll management and long-term profitability. If those aren't in your betting vocabulary, then take the cash out. The only reason I would ever say you should take a cash out is if, and we've seen posted on social media, it's 18 parlay for $500 that pays $50,000, and 7 legs have come in, and they're offering you $20,000 of the 50. If you don't have a bankroll that can actually hedge that out on the final game and lock in a profit, that $20,000 is probably life-changing to you, and you take it. That's the only reason I would ever say to cash out a wager. But I think it's a long-term, it's a losing proposition. Cash out early.
Teddy, you've got a question for Carm. I thought that was a spectacular answer, Carm. Teddy?
Yeah, Dan, I want you to put the question up again because the question to me is there's a really important thing in this question that people need. Quote, I'm a soccer bettor and can't tell you how many times I've been burned in injury time. You need to be able to tell us how many times you've been burned in injury time.
Yeah, well said.
You need to track that. Okay. If you don't know how many times you've been burned in injury time, it means your records aren't accurate and thorough, and it means you can't actually tell. If you don't know, is my brain playing tricks with me, or is the data show that I'm really getting very, very unlucky in this? So when you track those results and you know how many times you've been burned in injury time based on how many bets you've made, then you can make some realistic assessments about whether you've been unlucky and whether you need to change your strategy, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're not tracking, if you don't know, can't tell me how many times, you got to be able to tell me. Lawrence?
Yeah, Teddy, well said. And let me just add my thoughts to this. Never cash out a bet. If you're doing a 10-team parlay, a 5-team parlay, whatever, and you've won all your legs and you have one left to go, I cash it out. But from a straight bet perspective, never cash out your bets. Never take a warranty from Best Buy. Whenever you are offered something from a person who makes money off of you, think twice. It just doesn't work out in your favor in the long term. Conceptually, I am against cashing out single bets. Carmine, thank you, my friend. Well done. Teddy covers your big game breakdown, and then Art DiCesare will be joining us.
Let's do it. It's time for today's big game breakdown, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen. NFL preseason action for Friday night. Right now, I'm seeing the Tennessee Titans -1 against the Patriots, total 38 in that range. The number one rule of preseason for me, cluster injuries equals bet against. Now, there's some talk that Mac Jones might play tonight for New England. There's also some talk that Mac Jones might not play tonight for New England. Why? Because the Patriots' offensive line right now is in shambles. All right. They have injury issues, cluster injury issues on the offensive line. Now, these aren't long-term injuries. They should be fine for opening day, but Mac Jones got beat up last week. He took big hits. Belichick was concerned about it. I would expect tonight it's going to be mostly Bailey Zappi, Trace McSorley. We could even get a look at Malik Cunningham at QB for New England tonight. That's not a bet on group in this bettor's opinion. And when you have a situation where one team has to protect a unit, a key unit for the regular season, you see these very, very vanilla game plans. So Patriots have taken some money today, not my money. I'm talking about Tennessee right now. You can get them at Pick'em if you shop around -1, the prevailing number. I like this total as well. You can get that play right now over at WagerTalk or sportsmemo.com. Look at Tennessee tonight. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers the daily presidential address starts next week. I will give you guys a sample. I like the Chicago Cubs on the money line tonight. I don't understand this line at all. Better pitcher on the mound for Chicago, much better team in Chicago. They own Pittsburgh 9-1 head-to-head. Their last 10, they won 7 straight. It's a short number. I like the Cubs, and I do want to tell you guys, I have a big 4% play today in baseball. It's probably the strongest bet I've made in a while, and I'm on a baseball run. You can use the promo code BIRTHDAY9 for that. And I ended last year's college football on a 16-5 run. My first play goes tomorrow. Take advantage of that as well. Art DiCesare joining us. And Art, a pleasure to have you on as we're about to embark on a crazy 6-month run. How are you, my friend?
Good, gentlemen. It's good to be here always, and it's really great to be here to talk college football. I'm very excited.
Art, before we get into all of that, I do have to I got a doctor's appointment at 1:30 for my kid. So I'm likely going to have to leave in like 6-7 minutes. Teddy, okay, mock me, Teddy. If I do, Teddy will finish the segment. Art, what are you seeing for tomorrow, man? Any big bets coming in that we should know about? Any bets that you personally like? Help our clients with college football.
So I think the biggest one that we took was UMass. We saw some good UMass money come in the other day, +7.5 at New Mexico State. It's now 7, so it got back to kind of the middle of the number, but when it was sitting there at the 7.5, saw good money on the Minutemen. That over went up too. It was 42.5. It's now 45. So you've seen good money there. The under money has come in the Notre Dame game. Sharps took under 51. It has gone to as low as 49. Even saw 48.5 for a second. Public's on Notre Dame laying the 20.5. No real surprise there. They always are going to lay the money with, lay the points with Notre Dame. It's just the way it is. It's funny, FIU and La Tech. That's like the one game we've gotten really no action on whether it's public or sharps. We were 10, it moved to 11, and that was really just a market move. It wasn't because money pushed us one way or a group pushed us one way. So I would say that out of the 7 games is the one that we've seen the least action on. The USC game, the over. A lot of money came in on the over. 63.5 the sharps took. We hit 67 yesterday, went back to 66. We were kind of bouncing between 66 and 66.5. I think when it reached that 67, even the 66.5, people saw some value on the under and started coming back on that under. Ohio money came in +3, and that was sharp money. Moved us to 2. We've now settled to the middle at 2.5. That's Ohio at San Diego State. I know you guys talked this game, and this is, to me, is the most interesting game of the whole weekend, that UTEP-Jackson State game. I mean, UTEP was a dog, and now they're a favorite. And I think a lot of people feel, well, you know, the team they're playing, this is their first game playing real competition. UTEP has some guys back, and you've seen the money coming on UTEP. Total went up 2 points as well, from 52 to 54. And then Hawaii at Vandy. Sharp money was at 18.5. We got as low as 17, now 17.5. So the Hawaii money was there, but that's tough. They're going on the road to an SEC team. Obviously, it's a lower-end SEC team, but still an SEC team.
That, my friends, is a book report from Arthur DiCesare at ArtDice21 on Twitter. He's an excellent follow. And he basically just told us the positions that the Westgate has taken, the SuperBook on every college football game this weekend, where the sharp money has come, where the Joes have bet. It's good info. If you need to, rewind and listen to that segment twice.
Yeah.
Art, when it comes to the future book for college football, are there any teams that are taking big action? Teams to win their conferences, team to win their division, teams to go over their win total or under? Talk about who the wise guys are attacking in the futures marketplace as well as in the week 0 marketplace.
I'd say one to look for in the national championship market is Florida State. Florida State took a lot of money in the offseason, not only to win the national championship. Jordan Travis took a lot of money to win the Heisman. I understand that's a way bigger pool, and we're usually in a good position on those pools anyway, but Florida State definitely a team to keep your eye on. But it's funny, we took a lot of money on Clemson to win the ACC, so, you know, go figure that. And obviously that's pretty much a 2-team race between those two. Couple of ones that came in yesterday where we had to move numbers. We took under on Troy under 9 wins. We saw a lot of money come in yesterday on that. And then a team I mentioned, and I mentioned a week ago to you guys as well, is the UTEP over has been hot. That UTEP over was hot and has stayed hot. So a lot of people feel that, you know, week 1 they're going to get a win and, you know, move forward with a total of 5. So kind of 2 teams off the radar. Troy under, UTEP over, as far as the over markets go on win totals.
Art DiCesare joining us, everyone. Art, I have one question, and then I'm actually going to run because I cannot be late to a doctor's appointment, even though you know you're going to sit in the doctor's room for half an hour waiting for them. Anyway.
Take the over.
Yeah. Art.
Yeah.
Soccer, -1.25. Why don't those lines exist in baseball?
It's a great question. I heard you say that, or, you know, ask that question. You know, you were going to ask me. I don't know why we haven't even, listen, we haven't even done it on soccer lines yet. You know, I mean, we haven't even done it on, you know what I mean? Like, there's a market for us to kind of see what's going on with those soccer lines, and we haven't even implemented that yet. Now, I understand soccer and baseball. Baseball probably takes more action than soccer. Listen, EPL gets plenty of action. I get it. So maybe it's not been implemented yet because there's just no real, you know, juice for the soccer betting. But, you know, Prez, like anything in this business, in the, you know, 6-7 years I've been in it, you see things move, you see things change. I mean, eventually that probably will happen, and eventually we'll either have to be first in line or have to get with the times and go with it. But I like where your head's at with that. I think that would be a fun thing to do.
You're muted, Lawrence. Yeah, he muted himself when he's saying goodbye.
I muted myself. Hey, that's not the worst thing. Art, I got to bug off.
No.
I love you. You're the best. Thank you for joining us. Listeners, watchers, viewers, clients, thank you. Have a great weekend. and kick ass in college football tomorrow. Teddy, show is yours, brother.
Oh, yeah. In that case, we're never ending. Art, talk about the contest over at the Westgate SuperBook. How are signups going? You have the SuperBook Gold. You have the famed Super Contest. You have the season win total contest. I know there are people out there in viewerland that are interested in getting involved in some of these contests. Talk about them. Tell folks what they have to do, especially if they're coming from out of town.
Absolutely. If you're coming from out of town, obviously, you need to, hook up with a proxy and just kind of get that all sorted out. But, the season wins contest, that is basically, we're going to give every NFL team, all 32, a win total. It's going to be a stale number, and you're just going to bet them all. You can take all 32, however you want to do it. There's no rhyme or reason to that. You go and you pick who you think's going to have more wins or less wins, and that is up to 3 entries. So that's something that we've done for years. We do it for every sport. Always do it with totals. As far as the super contests go, obviously we have, the regular, like you said, the famed super contest. We also have the reboot, which starts in week 10. It's basically like a half a season. If you didn't have a great start, you can kind of get back in and have kind of a reboot with the second half of the season. The gold is a winner take all. And then this year we've done something where we've added a couple more in-game season, contests, wins and a couple more ways to win, but also you can up your entries. You can now have 7 entries in the super contest. You can have 5 in the reboot. Gold is still 1 because it's a winner take all $5,000 entry type thing. So, a lot going on with those contests. And as I always tell people, if you need help with any of that stuff, come ask for any supervisor up front. They'll help you. But if I'm there and you want to ask for me, I'll be more than happy to pop out from the back and help you with whatever I can.
And our own Kelly in Vegas works with Winner's Circle Proxy. If you're looking for a proxy service, they're as reputable as it comes. Again, Winner's Circle Proxy. You've seen Kelly in Vegas on this show many, many times. Art, before we let you go, there's MLB tonight. There's NFL tonight. Where's the action coming? What are you seeing over at the Westgate SuperBook in terms of actionable info for Friday night baseball and football?
Sure, Teddy, got a couple on both ends. Lions at Panthers. We opened Panthers 3, now 4.5 for Carolina. So you've seen Carolina money come in. Chargers at Niners. Total was 36.5. We now see a 38 there. So over money came in. So 2 games tonight with kind of significant action on a couple of sides. Baseball, I got a public play and I got a sharp play. Money came in on the Reds tonight. Reds at Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks were as high as minus 160 when we opened, now creep down to minus 148, so a little bit over a 10-cent move, and probably even creeping down further. And then the public is on the Braves-Giants under, with pitchers like Strider and Webb. We opened total 7.5 over 115. We're now 7.5 under 120. So the under money came in, and that is public money, I think, just looking at the pitchers. So, nothing sharp to report there, and we haven't moved to the 7 yet, but pretty significant, 30+ cent move on the total to the under there.
Strong information from Arthur DiCesare. Every Friday, you get your Football Friday fix with Arthur DiCesare right here on WagerTalk Today. And of course, if you have any thoughts, any comments about what Art was saying, please leave it in the chat section on YouTube. We will respond. All the comments are much appreciated, as are the likes and the follows. Art, anything you'd like to promote before we let you go?
No, Teddy, listen, just obviously the Westgate is always the contest, all the things you need. Listen, guys, still come down and sign up for the app. We still have that bet 50, get 50 promotion for new app users. This is a great time to do it for football season. Same thing applies to the contest. If you have any questions about the app, come in, you ask for me. I'll get you set up with all that type of stuff. We got all the sheets, all the futures for football, college football, all the trimmings, everything you need. So this is a good time to get down to the Westgate and, get your gambling started.
Get your gambling on, says Art DiCesare. Thank you so much for your time today. And that's going to wrap it for the week here on WagerTalk Today. We'll be back next Monday here every weekday, 9 a.m. on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, you guys know what to do. Enjoy the games and best of luck with all your wagers.